Hating used to be one of those things that you did on the low because it was embarrassing. Now, with celebrity hate culture, people are just doing it openly and freely, and we have to talk about it. First, I hate to use the word culture because it's one of those 2025 lingo words that I'm not a fan of, but the hate for celebrities has spread so rapidly that it's become this whole thing in and of itself. I mean, hate culture stems from a few things. The first thing that comes to mind is coping mechanisms. Um, I'm having a really tough day, having a tough year. My car is crap. I'm behind on the notes. My house is always a mess. Let me see who I can tear the stress on Instagram to alleviate a little bit of stress. Let me be delusional and pretend like their life sucks so that mine doesn't feel like it does. You know what I mean? And what exacerbates it is that there's no consequences. There's some consequences for bad behavior. Social media is completely unregulated. I can target whatever celebrity I want to, and there's just nothing they can do about it. And you know what? They deserve it because they have money and I don't. So the least you can do is let me say something horrible to you. That's the least you can do so that I can feel a little bit better. You got it. You should be all right. You're a millionaire. Why are you on social media anyway? You know, that's how they like to flip it. You can just pretty much say whatever you want. You can hate as hard as you please. And one of the most popular things that people hate on is, we all know it, Nepo babies. Who wouldn't want to be a Nepo baby? Is that not the dream come true? Getting on because of who you know, getting on because of who brought you on the planet. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That is a dream. And again, because hating is a very shameful thing to do, just having outright jealousy, outright envy. You can't come out and say that. So when you hate on someone, you do have to have a cover. You do have to have a cover. And a great cover has a little bit of truth in it. That's the number one thing you can do to protect yourself when you're being jealous. And the cover for Nepo babies is, oh, you're messing up other people's opportunities. You're getting in the way of real actors, of real singers. A little bit of truth. But that's not why you're angry. That's the point. You can tell the truth, but that's not why you're mad. You're mad because it's not you. You're mad because you're set up for an average life. You're mad because you're not born in the wealth. You're not born in the glitz and glamour. And it makes you upset. And that's perfectly understandable. But don't hide behind you're messing up people's opportunities. You're mad because you don't have any. You know, the opportunities you do have, you had to, grasp for. You had to cling on to. You had to work hard for them. And there's no virtue in struggle, as we all know. There's no virtue in that. Again, yeah, it makes you feel good to make others feel bad. You know what I mean? Another way people like to hate is when they judge celebrities' fashions. You know, their closet is full of rainbow and sheen-tastic. They got a closet full of rainbow, a closet full of silk, a closet full of polyester, but they want to get on and pretend like this person, the celebrity, can't dress to save their life. Well, if they can't now, they can later. That's what options buy you. And the cover for celebrity fashions, is money doesn't buy taste. Money doesn't buy taste. Again, a good cover needs a little bit of truth to hold up. So, no, money doesn't buy taste. But if it did, you still couldn't afford that. If it did, you couldn't afford that either. You know what I mean? Money doesn't buy taste. Why are you worried about what money buys? You don't have any. You know what I mean? And they run under that cover of money doesn't buy taste, and it's true. But what does that have to do with you? Once again, it feels good to make others feel bad, but God forbid, that a celebrity sees that comment and they decide to clap back. Not only is that better than an autograph, but people will take that after jumping up and down about getting a response. People will take that and turn it into a controversy. The best clapback I've seen ever from a celebrity is a guy who isn't even in the spotlight like that, doesn't even enjoy the spotlight like that. Kevin Durant. I can't even remember what the troll said, I can't even remember what they said. But his response was, go to work. Go to work. What can you say about me? What can you say about me? I'm in the NBA. I've been in the NBA for years. I got millions of dollars. And not even that, I'm talented. And you have something to say about me? Get up and go to work. Go clock in. And then everyone wants to turn on them. They like to drop the E word. When celebrities clap back, the trolls must drop the E word. That's elitist. You're just being elitist. You think you're better than me because you have money. You think you're better. No, you know that they're living better and that they have a better life. Money doesn't buy happiness, blah, 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 but it buys comfort, and comfort will put a smile on your face and the faces of your family. They say, celebrities always want to brag about their money. It's not about money. It's not about money. It is about money. The fact that you don't have any makes you feel like you have license to spray these people and tear them down in the comments. You think it's okay because you're struggling. It's not okay. It is not okay. And it's always easier to criticize someone when you're on the outside, because you don't have to match their work. Case in point, Charlamagne the God. He can tear anybody's album apart because he doesn't rap. He's not a rapper. What can you do? What can you do? What album can you put out? I'm not a rapper. That's the easiest cop-out ever. And that's why that's the smartest field to get into. I don't do this, so let me go ahead and criticize it because I'm not in it. And that's what kind of makes me think, respectfully, journalism, I respect the field, I respect the craft, but maybe journalists are professional clout chasers, maybe, because they talk about other people's lives until their lives matter. So you're not talented, you're just telling us about the people who are, and you're making them look like a fool for your TV show by mixing them up and tripping them up with questions. Diane Sawyer can't sing a note, but she's known for doing what? Getting Whitney to say that was that. For getting Whitney to say that is that. That's what Diane Sawyer is known for. I can't sing a lick. You know what I mean? They just tell you what's going on. I'm not doing anything. I'll just tell you what's happening. And entertainment or celebrity gossip journalists, we love them. Charlamagne has worked hard. Wendy has worked hard.
On you, nigga.
Yeah, but I'm the radio guy. Why pull up on the radio guy? Don't act tough with the radio guy.
I hear my nigga. Y'all finished or y'all done? I ain't got no more talking.
I got an A-lister come to my show. And when they come here, I'm not going to give them compliments. They're too used to that. What gives me power is tearing down someone at the top. That's what makes me feel good. Wendy has a regular life, middle class, Jersey girl. Charlamagne is from lower working class, South Carolina. We were probably not going to talk about them. We were probably not going to read his book. But once you, make a name for yourself off the backs of celebrities by humbling them in front of people who want to see them humbled, you build yourself up. And now we care about your story. We wouldn't care before, but now we care that you lived in a double wide in Moncks Corner. We care now because of Lil Mama, because of what are some of the other infamous interviews? Because of Donkey of the Day, because of all the celebrities, because of coming at Drake repeatedly, not getting that interview from Drake. He wanted Drake to sit down with him so badly, and he never did. And they say, okay, I'm just judging the music. I'm being fair. We don't know. How do we know that they're being fair? How do we know that Charlamagne the God is being fair? How do we know that Wendy Williams is being fair? You know what I mean? We don't know who turned them down for an interview. We don't know what happened behind the scenes that made them go, I hate that album. I'm not being a hater. I just hate it. We don't know. We don't know. And so that's the drill. They get an A-lister, break them on the show, put them down, embarrass them, and then they just get a little bit bigger off of that. You know what I mean? And Wendy and Charlamagne, Funky Dineva, they all say, that they're reporting for the people. I'm here for the people. I'm not here for the celebrity. The people want to see the celebrity get ripped apart so they can feel good. They listen to these interviews on the way to work, on the way to a job that they hate, and that's what makes them, jump out of the car and feel a little bit better, is hearing these celebrities get humbled. They like that. You're rich, so I need to see you be dismantled, And so it is a sort of a David and Goliath thing, David must have done a million things in the Bible, but all we know him for is killing who? You know what I mean? And that's why, it's off topic, we're talking about hating here and trolls, online trolls, regular people, but that's what it is in the music industry when you beef with someone. You're the tiny man and you beef against the big man and you win against the big man. Now your identity has become the big man. David's identity is Goliath. No one's going to ask Goliath about David, but everyone is going to ask David about Goliath. You know what I mean? Once you do conquer the big dog, it's difficult because that's all people care about now. You know what I mean? We've seen that take place in recent rap beefs. You're the little guy, and whenever we see you, we're gonna think about the big guy. And then everyone kind of everyone likes to act like, oh, the big guy lost, but did he? At least he's known for being him. You're just known for beating him. David must have done a million things in the Bible, but all we know him for is killing Goliath. That's just the facts, And so, it's really difficult to... It's really disheartening to see these horrible comments that people aim towards celebrities. It's really pathetic. It's really sad. Like, is that gonna... Defending them isn't gonna make me any money, but harassing them isn't gonna make you any money either. And it just makes you look a little bit more sad. Because when you go and read the comments that celebrities aren't reading, you just soak up all that nastiness, and then you end up being infuriated. It's not even for you. But celebrities, they got better things to do sometimes than to entertain a troll. So they don't even get to see it. We're the ones who end up reading it. We're the ones who end up getting upset. That's why blogs and everything is just one big harvest for nastiness. The blogs, the Shade Room, Neighborhood Talk, and not just them, just People Magazine, or just... There's not any type of troll. There's no race for the troll. There's no gender. There's no age. Everyone's just so eager to spread their nastiness, and it's so easy to spread it. That's the worst disease. That's the worst disease. And you just can't stop it. And you can't. I try not to even read the comments. When it's somebody that I know people hate for fun, I don't even read the comments. If it's Drake, if it's Cardi, Jennifer Lopez, people are just bored and bitter and at their wits' end. So some posts, they just post it because they know they're going to get 500 comments of hate. Meanwhile, they're living their absolute best life. They are not having to wonder where your next check is going to come from, not having to worry about how bills will be paid, not have to worry about when or if you'll eat, not even have to worry about what's going to be for dinner. You know what I mean? I got a personal chef that's going to cook up something that I've never tried and it's going to be really excellent. Money does buy you all those things. And they say it doesn't buy you happiness, but it's not going to put a frown on your face. You know what I mean? So, I guess my resolve to this celebrity hate culture, try to resist. Next time you see a comment, just try to resist saying something nasty. If you don't have anything nice to say, I dare you to scroll to the next thing. I wonder what would happen in the world if everybody just cut off the comments. What would we do if we just cut off the comments and you couldn't see the horrific statements that people leave? I don't know if it'll get worse or it'll get better. I think that's what we need. I think we need one day of that. But hate culture, hating, being a hater, that's what's going to get that engagement. That's what's going to get those rates up. So nobody's going to cut off the comments. They're going to hang somebody out there and pray that they get a response. If I were a celebrity, would I respond to anything? No, because it just doesn't stop. It's like an all-day job. They want a response. Would I do a burner account? No, just because I won't want to get caught. You do not want to get caught out there. You do not want to get caught. You wouldn't believe how much time losers have in their hands. They don't have a life. They don't have a goal. They just want to eat at you. They just want to get at you. I would just post. When people don't have anything, they start to just make things up. Maturing is realizing people are rewriting history for the heck of it just to see who's going to go along with it. And that's a different conversation, the remakes and stuff and rewriting and flipping history around. We've run out of things to talk about. We're just making things up now. We just have to pretend. Your life sucks. Your life is... Lori Harvey, her life is terrible. I can't imagine just being known for guys. Her life is amazing. Lori Harvey's life is amazing. Amazing body. Pretty in the face. Pretty on the yacht. Not having to clock in, having to punch a clock. There's no virtue in this. There's no fun in having to work a job you can't stand. It's one thing to have a career. It's one thing to be like, oh, it's Friday already? God, I need more time for my project that I'm passionate about. And it's another thing to wake up at a crappy call center job and be like, oh my God, it's Friday. Woo! That's another thing. It's amazing to not have to do that. We all need to just sit back and just maybe take some notes on what they're doing so we don't have to do this. Working sucks. Oh, I work at 18. Why? Because we took a misstep. And yes, we need these jobs, but these jobs are for college kids. Customer service, any kind of customer service job, give it to the kids, give it to the children. Give it to the kids. This working, punching, blue collar, remote customer service, it's all garbage. All of it. Just keep giving it to the college kids. They graduate. They can give it to the next batch of college kids. McDonald's and selling stuff at Best Buy. That's all for the kids. That's all for the kids. PTO? Like, what is that? Oh, wow, I got a week off. A week? I went on vacation in Bali for a month without even having to think about anything. That's living. That's living. You need a job. We know what we need. We know what we need. I know what we need. You know what we need. But in the same breath, working is trash. Work sucks. Didn't make the right decision in your 20s, and you get comfortable, then you start a family, then you end up being there for like 20 years. And it's like, wait a minute, God, I hate this. What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? You get stuck on this hamster wheel. Work sucks. And so whatever these celebrities are doing, we want to pretend like they made a screwed up decision. And I hate to quote Cat Williams. That's one of the largest haters that has ever lived in the history of forever. And I don't hate his work. The work is solid. Just who he is, it's just so not good. So I don't even want to quote him, but I'm not going to pretend like he sucks when those first two specials were everything. Anyway, we got to tell ourselves that they made a bad decision. Oh, they sold their souls. They're Illuminati. We got to tell ourselves something so we don't have to deal with the fact, wow, they made a better decision than I did. They got more talent than I do. They got a better life than I do. And life, I don't mean like your children or your spouse. If you're really in love with your spouse and you really love your kids, you won't want to trade that. I just mean when I say they have a better life, I mean they have a better lifestyle. I wouldn't trade my sisters, my parents for anything in the world. I do want a better lifestyle, though. We all do. One person hits, we're all living lavishly. PTO, lunch, I gotta wait an hour. I got a 1 hour lunch. I better hurry up and do what I can in 1 hour. You don't time me when I'm eating. I gotta get timed. What is that? Oh, we need you back on the phones. Oh, overtime. It's not even for a good career. You telling me to come in on Saturday to take calls. That is garbage. That is garbage. It's garbage. I don't care how you slice and dice it. It is garbage. It's garbage. Working sucks. So take out a pen and paper for celebrities and see how you can get this thing back on the road. No, we can't all be famous. It's not about when I say celebrities, I don't mean fame is the goal. I just mean money is the goal. So I know all celebrities are not rich like that. I feel like they're living a little bit better than the trolls, though. They're not Jeff Bezos, but they're living a little bit better than the people who are in the comments, But I'm not talking about fame. I'm talking about comfort, financial comfort. That's the goal. You don't have to know my name ever. See my face never. You just want to be comfortable. That is what we're aiming for, That is what we want. No one cares about fame. I want to not have to worry. So instead of hating, let's just all gather around and see what we can do differently. Thanks for listening.